Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montes and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. Welcome back to another YouTube channel everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're doing the next part of my series, Journey to Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I'm probably not going to be seeing this movie just because I haven't really been liking any of the Transformers movies. But we're reviewing Bumblebee today and I actually have some good thoughts to talk about with this movie. But before I start talking about Bumblebee, let's go and talk about the past Transformers movies that I have finally seen. Which were back in the past, which I think I saw most of those like last year. So let's go ahead and get started. So when it comes to Transformers Dark of the Moon, I thought this was a fun, but sort of very bad story for a film. It had all the cool action that you want from a Transformers movie. It's just the story. They have such a huge cast in this movie. I remember I watched this like last February, not 2023, February of 2022, and I didn't really like it all that much. So this was a film that was just so oddly weird. It was a very weird film. It had a lot of storylines, and it just did not work for me as much. So I wasn't a big fan of Transformers Dark of the Moon. Age of Extinction, I think, was a bit of a better film. It of course, has a much more likable cast with Mark Wahlberg. It has some a lot more cool action. The story is a little bit better, but it's not where I like this movie. But overall, it was a much better film than what Dark of the Moon was. All right, now let's get started reviewing Bumblebee. And for me, I thought Bumblebee was just a delightful film. First off, I think the first thing I really liked about it is that it has this opening where it's like, it has all the cool Transformers action you want, where it's like, you have all the Transformers with Optimus Prime and all of them, and then you have the way you introduce Bumblebee as he is the main character of the film. It's just a great opening as he's the main character. And so he's the one that gets sent down to Earth to protect it, so that way they can stay in hiding, so that way they can reform all together. And as we lead into that story, it kind of connects everything, almost everything, where you have the military people with John Cena, then you get the other people that are trying to kill Bumblebee but then take out his voice box, and then you get the introduction of Haley Steinfeld's character. And so I thought the way that scene played out was just really well done, where it's like, it does it really well. But the way that the whole story plays out, I thought was really well, where it's like, you have these people that want to destroy these because they see them as threats. But then you have Haley Steinfeld who wants to help them and thinks that they're not that bad all the time. And even talking about the relationship between Bumblebee and Haley Steinfeld, I really like, once Bumblebee gets his voice box knocked out, it really changes throughout the entire film. It's like, he really becomes this creature of almost like a Yeti from like Abominable, or even the Iron Giant. I heard a lot of similarities between this film and the animated film Iron Giant, which is a film I'm still yet to see. But I really like the relationship between Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee's character. I thought that was like probably the best thing about this film. And even Haley Steinfeld's character itself, usually when you come to Transformers movies, you're not really into the human characters as much. This is the film where I felt like, oh yeah, I really like the human characters in this film. And I think it's because Haley Steinfeld's performance is great. And I mean, she's kind of been showing up in a lot of different things these past couple of years, especially when it comes to Marvel. She appeared as Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider in Into and Across the Spider-Verse. And then she was also in as Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus. So she's been in a lot of different things. Crazy. I saw Bumblebee at last night, and now I'm seeing Across the Spider-Verse later today. That's gonna be a fun day. But when it comes to this movie, you know, I really liked it where she has this stuff of her dad and everybody's just bringing her down. And so I thought it was really fun with that. I mean, not fun, it was very emotional, and you kind of felt for her. And when she cries, it's like you feel for her. You really do. And then even when it gets to some of the action stuff, you know, all the action in the film is really well done. And it feels a little bit different because you're not having all these big giant robots, a team of robots fighting another army of robots. You have this one robot just fighting a bunch of army soldiers, and it's fun. I think it's fun through that. Beyond that, I think the family dynamics of Haley Steinfeld's family in the film, really well done. It's like it kind of feels a little bit original because you don't want to just replace, you don't want to just do the same thing you've been doing in all these other action films. So you want to kind of create something different with it. I think the way they did it worked. The little love interest between Haley Steinfeld and the guy, I thought worked. He was a nice addition once he became part of the little group. Overall, even talk about some of the castings in here. I think you get the guy that plays Braga, the guy that played Braga in Fast and Furious 4, which I thought was a nice little casting. And you even get Angela Bassett in here, which I was like, wait, I need to look up the cast. Like, is Angela Bassett in Transformers? Is she in Bumblebee? And I'm like, oh yeah, she is. So I'm like, that's a cool twist. And she actually works as this like evil villainous Transformers character. I thought she was very well done. So yeah, that's pretty much all the good for me. Now let's talk about the bad. Now for me, it's not really much to talk about here when it comes to the bad, you know. When it comes to films like this, you know, you don't really expect too much. You just expect big giant robots attacking other big giant robots in a city. That's all it is. And it kind of has that plot line where they're basically trying to get this satellite dish to go up to the other planet, to Cybertron, and they're trying to gain an army to come down to Earth and attack. And we know that it's not going to happen, that satellite's going to get dished out, and it's not going to come to the Earth. We know it's not going to happen. So I guess you could say it's pretty predictable as to how that happened. But overall, it was a very good film. I really enjoyed Bumblebee. And this is by far my favorite Transformers movie. Better than the first film. So that's my review for Bumblebee. Before I give my final score, be sure to down below. What are your thoughts on Bumblebee? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Or in between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section below. What that tells us, get all my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores. But before we end this video, we gotta do my updated ranking of all of the Transformers films. So let's go ahead and get started doing that. Alright, so that's it for my scores. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff's in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.